you should have had a chance to take a look at this next example and see if you could come up with the pattern in giving the next three terms. So when I look here, to go from 2 to 4 is plus 2. And to go from 4 to 8 is plus 4. And to go from 8 to 16 is plus 8. So I'm doubling that every time what I'm adding, but that doesn't really look like a great consistent pattern. So instead, I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to say, well, that's not a consistent common difference, so now let's look to see if there's a common ratio. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So my common pattern is we're going to multiply by 2 each time. So now I need to come up with my next three terms. So 16 times 2 gives me 32. 32 times 2 gives me 64. And 64 times 2 gives me 128. Question you should be asking yourself right now is, how did I do? If you did good, great, we're ready to move on to the next thing. If you didn't do well, please mark down that you have questions and bring them with you tomorrow. Our next topic is we're going to be taking a look at working with sequences to determine how we can tell things apart. So some of our step one that we should be doing is to determine if there's a common ratio or a common difference. I like to emphasize that you want to do the difference first, the ratio second, because more than likely it's going to be a common difference as opposed to a common ratio, because we're going to be working more with arithmetic as opposed to geometric sequences. Step 2 would be that if not, determine if there is even a pattern, because sometimes there won't be a pattern. And step 3, extend the pattern if there is one. So if we take a look here, we've got a couple of problems that we want to know. A, is it arithmetic? If so, we want to give the common difference. And if not, is it geometric? And if so, give the common ratio. So let's take a look at this first example. To get from 4 to 8, I can plus 4. 8 plus 4 does give me 12, and 12 plus 4 does give me 16. So this is arithmetic, and you can abbreviate arith, and the common difference is plus 4. Now if you want to go ahead and come up with the next three terms, you are more than welcome to do so. This next one, I want you to take 30 seconds right now, pause the video, and try to complete this one on your own. All right, taking a look at this problem. Going from 11 to from negative 11 to negative 5, that is adding 6. When I go from negative 5 to negative 1, that is adding 4. When I go from negative 1 to 1, that is adding 2. Now, while this one is not arithmetic because it doesn't have a common difference, so we're going to write not arithmetic. It is also not geometric because there isn't a whole number you can multiply negative 11 by, or a number you can multiply negative 11 by to get negative 5 that will also get you negative 1 and positive 1. So it's not geometric. And we'll put G-E-O-M for geometric. However, there is a pattern, and that pattern would be to go, next one would be plus 0. And so that would go, our next term would be 1, and then it would be plus negative 2, which would take us back to negative 1, which would be then plus negative 4, which would take us back to negative 5. And so it's kind of this oscillating pattern. Our next one here, when I look at this one, I want you to take a minute and go ahead and solve it, and then press play again once you are done completing the problem. This problem here, when I take a look here, to go from -3 to -9, that's -6. But to go from -9 to -27 is -18. So we don't have a common difference. So this is not arithmetic. However, if I go ahead and erase all this, and I look here, to get from -3 to -9, that's multiplying by a +3. -9 times +3 is -27, and -27 times +3 is -81. So this is a geometric sequence of multiplying by 3. So now, what I want you to do is to go ahead and take a look at the U-Try problems. A is describe and extend the pattern of 2, 20, 200, 2000, etc. And B is the sequence arithmetic. If so, give the common difference. If not, is it geometric? And if so, give the common ratio for 0, 1/3, 2/3, 1. Please make sure you bring your questions with you, ask your questions when you are done watching the video, and don't forget to write your summary.